Hey guys. All right. Well, so I had a little experience this last week, 10 days, that I thought I would just sit down and share with you. Um, Let me preface it by saying that I live here in the Philippines. I really like living here in the Philippines. And the information that I'm going to share with you are just facts, a little bit of my opinion, and in no way, shape, or form am I trying to disrespect here where I live in Dumaguete, or the people, or the place. But when I kind of got pressured into start this channel, and so when I did start it, I said, you know what, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I just want to. I relate anything to people that live here or people that are coming here. I want to make sure that it's just the way it really is. So just understand that as I proceed with my little tale. About 10 days ago, 12 days ago or so, I started feeling lousy. Um, I guess I'm blessed because I'm one of these guys that doesn't perspire. And you say, what's that got to do with anything? Well, I'll tell you. um, if I go outside and it's really hot, my forehead will get sweaty and back of my neck and all that. But as far as the rest of my body goes, that's just never been my chemistry, I guess. So about 10 days ago, I woke up in the morning and my shirt was just drenched with sweat. And I was feeling really funky. And I knew that I'd had a fever. And hopefully, I thought since I was covered in sweat that I'd broken the fever. And I went about my day that day, and everything was kind of in slow motion. So I just keeping on, I should say. And ran a few errands, got tired really fast, came back home, laid down, took a nap. And when I woke up, I was again just soaked in sweat. So I said, God dang it, I hobbled up to the pharmacy and I got some ibuprofen and decided just to get it out. I was a little concerned that it might have been dengue fever, which is a condition that you can get that's real severe fevers and diarrhea and all this kind of stuff. And that's caused by mosquito bites. So I figured I'd just ride this out for a day or two and see how it goes. And the next day, I started feeling a little bit better. So I knew it wasn't dengue because once that gets you, it gets you. And then it was off and it was on again. And so I said, well, I need to just rest, take it easy. I don't need to go to a doctor. I'm fine. I'll just drink water. And I went and bought some Jewish penicillin, chicken soup, and drank some of that. And tried to make myself feel better. Well, it just didn't get any better. I would feel good for a couple, 3 hours, and then I'd feel crappy for another couple, 3 hours. And I said, you know what? I'm going to need to get to a physician. I need to go to a doctor. Because what also happened was I started to break out on my lips some cold sores or fever blisters, I guess. And back when I was a kid, I used to get those really bad. It's called herpes simplex. And it's a virus that gets into your system and never leaves. And I hadn't had an outbreak in like, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. And it felt like I was getting those again. So I thought, well, that's probably the cause of the fever. But I'd like to get this checked because there's some other dark spots on my face. And I've got a spider bite on my ankle and all these rashes are going on. And I said, I need a dermatologist. I need some, maybe they've got a cure for this now, or they've got some, whiz bang antibiotic that will knock it out. And the spider bite should probably get some attention. And this dark spot on my face needs to get looked at. This other rash I got going on, I should get that looked at. So I'm going to find a dermatologist. I had been to a dermatologist about 6 months ago for a similar kind of issue. Again, spots and stuff on the face. And I just really, to be honest with you, I didn't care for her. And I had heard about this other person that was a specialist and very highly rated. And so I thought, okay, cool. I know where her office is. I'll go see her. So I got on my bike and I drove down to her office. And I walked in and I said, hi, I'd like to see the doctor. And the girl behind the counter said, okay, great. Well, you can see her on November 21st. And it was, I think, October 19th that I went in there, somewhere around there. So that was over a month away. And I said, really? There's just no chance of getting in to see her on standby or cancellation? Nope, that's it. I said, well, okay. So I went back home, trying to figure out, I said, maybe there's a hospital I could go to. And I called up my friend Joe and I said, you know what, Joe, man, I don't feel good. Or he contacted me. I don't know. I had such a fever. I don't remember the sequence of events. But he said, how about I take you to the doctor tomorrow? I said, okay. And Joe took me to the doctor at, I won't say the name of it. He took me to a hospital to go see this doctor. So we'll just leave names and places out of it. And we went on a Thursday. Thursday was the 17th of this month. Right now it's the 23rd. So on Thursday, Joe was kind enough. He came over, picked me up with his girlfriend, and drove me to the hospital. And went into the hospital. We went to the information desk and said, we'd like to see this physician. And we were told, well, you can't see them or her because they went home. And we were there sometime in the afternoon. I don't remember exactly what time. But apparently the hours there at the hospital for these doctors is from 10 to 2. And apparently that's pretty common because they go from hospital to hospital to hospital. There's like 3 or 4 hospitals here, and they have private clinics, and there's a shortage of doctors. So they just kind of bounce around to different locations. So that's understandable. And they told us, you know what, you can go up to emergency and see a doctor. And we said, yeah, okay. So we went up to emergency. I signed in. They took my little vitals, and we're sitting on the bench. And there's people being wheeled in that have been in motorcycle accidents. And they told me, you're going to be waiting for a little while, sir, because we've got some critical patients here. And I looked at Joe and I said, let's get out of here, dude. I got a cold sore. These people have got broken legs. And he said, yeah, cool. So we split. And he said, listen, just give me a call tomorrow because I was kind of wobbly. And he says, if you need a ride, we'll try again on Friday. I said, okay. So we went downstairs and I double checked at the information booth with the girl. I says, listen, when should I come back? And again, we were there on a Thursday. She said, well, come back tomorrow and come back between the hours of 8 and 10 and you can get in to see a physician. And I said, awesome. Thank you very much. And away we went. Next day, Joe calls me and says, hey, do you need a ride? I said, nah, I'm okay. I'm all right. The fever's not really there. I got my balance. I can make it down there. And so I get on my bike, and if you live in Dumaguete, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, the traffic situation here is untenable sometimes. And there's all kinds of commotion. So there's trikes, there's jeepneys, there's cars. Nobody uses a blinker, it seems. Of course, there's other scooters. And this drive to the hospital is about a 35 to 45 minute trip in the heat. And I left at 7 o'clock in the morning. And it was that day that there was about 5 stray dogs that decided they wanted to commit suicide. Because I'm not kidding you. 4 or 5 dogs ran out in front of me. And as I'm coming at them at 50 clicks, they just sat down right in my path. So I was, bobbing and weaving, and there's exhaust hitting me in the face, and I don't feel that good, and I'm trying to get there on time. And so after all this, jicky-jacky shit of going down the hill, avoiding dogs, breathing fumes. Uh, I get to the hospital, and I get there at 10 minutes to 8. Awesome. I'm early because I was told that when you get there, you have to be like the first 3 or 4 or 5 people to arrive and get on a list because other people have appointments. And so you want to get queued in quick. So I went into that, and they told me just go up to room 307. So I went past information. I went in the elevator, up to the 3rd floor, went to 307, and 307 just says private entrance. Not even a doctor's office. So what the hell is this? So I went wandering around a little bit, and I saw room 317, and that was the doctor. That was the dermatologist. I said, okay, that's a, whatever. Maybe I heard her wrong. And it's locked up tight as a drum. This is Friday. And so I'm looking around. It's like most of the offices are locked up. But I see a light on in one. It's a family practitioner. And I said, well, man, just go see this guy. And so I walk in there, and I said, hi, can I see the doctor today? And the receptionist said, no. He's not even here yet. And he's not taking any new patients. He's booked up with appointments all day. Okay, no problem. Go back down, and I said, well, I'll go back to the information girl that told me to come here and see what the story is. So same girl's there. And I'm a little confused. I'm not feeling real good. It was a rough ride in. And I said to her, hi, do you remember me? And she said, yeah. And I said, do you remember telling me to come back here today between the hours of 8 and 10? Oh, yeah. I said, there's no one here. She said, well, sir, it's a holiday. I said, yeah, I know it's a holiday, but you told me to come back. And she said, well, I'm sorry. And, I've always been very polite and forgiving and calm when these kind of things go on. I've just gotten used to it here. It's kind of par for the course. But I felt my blood just go up because all I could think of was I got up early. I don't feel good to begin with. The ride in, for some reason, was just one hairpin turn after another, one death-defying, lean of the motorbike to avoid getting killed. And again, I'm drenched in sweat. The fever's come back. And I said, well, why would you tell me to come back on a day that nobody is going to be here? And she said, well, sir, I'm just very sorry. And I said, this is the first time I've done anything like this. I said, she had a little plaque that says information in front of her. And I said, what does that say? And she says, information. I said, well, you should change that to bad information. And I left in a huff. I got back on my bike. And I said, Jesus Christ, this is terrible. But now I'm on a mission. And I'll be damned, I'm going to see a doctor today. So I drove all the way over to a place called Silliman Hospital. I was supposed to leave names out of this, but it doesn't matter at this point. And at Silliman, they said, I went in and I got a receptionist, and she said, I said, do you have a dermatologist here? And she said, yeah, but she's not going to be back until January of 2020. I said, really? I said, what are the chances of me getting in to see anybody today? She said, well, it's a holiday. that's gotten through to me now. Don't get sick on a holiday. But she was actually really helpful. I said, you got any recommendations? And she goes, yeah. She said, there's a really good dermatologist. And she pointed me back to the original place that I went to see this doctor. The doctor that I went to go see at the hospital is the one that's highly recommended and has an office in another location, where I went in and they had said you have to wait till November 17th. So the roundabout on all this is that when I went in originally, and they told me November 17th, they never did go the extra mile and say, by the way, she does work at this hospital on Mondays and Tuesdays, etc., etc. So that had me, a little hissy fit. And I just gave up. I went home. And I was chatting with my friend Mark, and believe it or not, and we were just going over what was going on. He said, you know what's amazing, Paul? He says, I was at that doctor, the same doctor. I had some things on my back, and she's awesome. And so he sent me over a photocopy of her business card, and on the back, it showed that what days she worked. And so it turns out that she's there on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So this is Friday that I'm having this conversation. So Saturday, Sunday go by. The things on my lip are getting worse, and my spider bite's not looking any better. And but I just, it's okay. I'm a man. You usually don't go to doctors. So I just take it easy. I actually go out for a little while on Saturday night, listen to a little music. That was another story. And then Sunday, did my usual chill out at home. And on Monday, I drove back down to the original office of this doctor and went in and talked to someone different, another receptionist. And I said, hi. I said, I came in here a few days ago and wanted to schedule an appointment. And they told me that's a month away. And she goes, yeah. And I said, what would be my best? I was kind of testing her. I said, what would be my best opportunity to try to see her before that? She says, well, she works at this hospital. See, different person, different information. It's kind of how things roll here in the Philippines. You don't just give up on the first swing. You have to keep at it. You've got to be tenacious. You've got to be proactive. Okay. A lot of guys are reactive. When I got in the girl's face about the information sign, I was being reactive, and I regret that. And I wish I hadn't done it, but it happened. And like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat any of this stuff. I'm just going to tell you the way it works or how it worked. So now I'm pumped because I know that tomorrow, Tuesday, this woman's going to be in her office. And if I get there between 8 and 10, everything's going to be just awesome. I'm going to be there first or second or third, and I'm going to get on the list. Tuesday shows up. I get on my gay little scooter. I don't have near the issues driving in. No dogs were trying to commit suicide. And I get down there about 10 till. And I, of course, roll right past the information girl because I'm a little embarrassed about my behavior the days before. And this is a true story. I get into the elevator with a bunch of other people. And there's elevator boys. They sit in the chair and they push the buttons for you. And when I got in with all these other people, I said, 3. And he said, okay. And I got in, and the elevator goes to the second floor. People get off. And it skips 3 and goes to 4. 5, 6, 7. By the time I got to 7, now again, I'm just getting twisted all over again. And I go, hey, what happened to 3? And there was a doctor standing next to the elevator boy, and Ivasayan explained to him that he hadn't hit the button. So we had an elevator boy that didn't know how to operate an elevator. And I'm starting to have my doubts about this place. Maybe I'll just ride this out. I could come out of here worse than I went in. But then the elevator goes, poor kid, the elevator goes to floor 8, and he's trying to shut the door to get me down to 3. And meanwhile, there's still people trying to get off. And the doctor had to explain to him to hit the other button to keep the door open so we could unload, because he keeps trying to close it. He's in such a hurry to get my ass down to 3. Oh, man. So here we go. Now it's just me and him. And down to 3 we go. I give him a little salute, and I walk to the office, and it's just locked up tight as a drum. It's 8:05, and there's not a soul there. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? And there's 3 or 4 people waiting in the lobby. I sit down with them, and at about 8:45, almost 9, 8:55, I think, sat there for an hour because I just wasn't going to give up. In comes a lady and unlocks the door. I don't know if it's the doctor or who. So the people that are waiting before me, they just flood that. I mean, they just, bam, they're in that office. They're signing up too. They know the drill. So I let them go ahead of me. I go inside, and I said, is it going to be possible for me to have an appointment with the doctor today? She said, yeah, sure. We can get you in, sir. And it's 9:00, 9:10. And I said, so do you have like a time element as to when I'll be seeing her? And she said, well, she hadn't shown up yet. This coming from the girl that was supposed to open it at 8 and got there at 9. And I said, okay, what are you thinking? And she said, well, why don't you check back at 10? I said, all right. So I get back in the elevator, and me and my friend, we go down to the ground floor. We make nice. And it just so happens that there's this cool little restaurant almost right next door to the hospital. And I went over there, and I had an hour to kill, and I had a nice little breakfast and a delicious cup of coffee and smoked a couple cigarettes and got online, and the service was awesome. I said, this is great, you know. Things are picking up for me. So, so I have my breakfast. I go back to the hospital at 10:00 as instructed. And long story short, at 11:30, I saw the doctor. So I got there at 8, 9, 10. That's 3.5 hours. I got in and saw the doctor. So the doctor checked me out and agreed that I needed to get some tests done, and that I should come see her at her office, the other location, the original location I went to, at 4:00. And first go downstairs and get this blood test, because she's going to do a biopsy on me at 4. But I need to do a blood test to see if I clot, because if I'm a bleeder, then they don't do the biopsy. So they have to do that test. Fully understandable. So I go downstairs, and she gives me the instructions. I go to the lab. The lab tells me I got to go back to the information desk. So now I go back to the information desk, and the girl's got to put my information in the computer, but she wasn't really sure how to do it. And so finally somebody came over and helped her. And we got that all dialed in. And then I went back to the laboratory with the paperwork, and he said, "No, you need to go over here to the business office and pay up, pal." Oh, okay. So you're going to pay up front, which is understandable. But anyway, so I find the business office, I pay my money, I go back. They perform the procedure on me to check my blood if it clots. I said, "Now what?" They said, "Well, come back in an hour." And, the States, and I know I'm not in the States, I'm not complaining, but sometimes it's hard to get out of that mode. Everything's done by a computer. They just do the test and shoot the results over, and that's that. You never see it again. Here, everything is done via paperwork, honest. So what I needed to do now was go kill another hour. And I went right back to the restaurant and had myself another cup of coffee. Jacked around on the internet and went back and got the results an hour later. So what time is it now? It's pushing 2:00. I've been there since 8. And I had to be at the doctor at the other location at 4. So I went home for a little while and just kind of relaxed, got a bite to eat, cooled off, changed my shirt. Went down to the office at 4:00, checked in there, and I think they got around to me about 6:30. And they did the biopsy, and they're going to get the results back in a couple of weeks. So anyway, I just thought that was just kind of it's not a typical story, but it is a typical story. I guess the moral of this story, or the message of this little story, is that you're not in Kansas anymore. And you really do have to pre-plan. Having friends helping you in these kind of situations is very good. But the main thing out here, if you're living out here, you already know this. But for the guys that are thinking about coming out here, you're going to need to have a mindset. And I'm not here giving you advice. I just want to give you my opinion. It's my opinion that you really need to have, or I need to have, the mindset that you just don't quit. If there's something that needs to get done, there's always someone else that you can talk to. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be overly pushy, but you do need to have a degree of tenacity and a great deal of patience. So that's my little go to the hospital story in Dumaguete. Anyway, guys, I really hope that you subscribe to the channel. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I was supposed to have some people that I was going to interview because they're a lot more interesting than I'll ever be. And I still have that plan, but as I just told you, I've been sick for like 10 days, and trying to schedule anything under those conditions was not fair to them. I thought I might give them my fever or whatever I had. So anyway, that's coming up. If you do hit the subscribe button, it'd be appreciated. And I will talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.